What up, what up? Now, in this video, when it is actually you, there is nothing to pull off. What do I mean by that? There's nothing to pull off, right? There's no exact script, there's no perfect line, there's no perfect situation to pull off because it is actually you that you are bringing to the situation. Now, this is really a channel for deep thinkers. I love philosophical concepts, psychology, that sort of stuff. So if you're a deep thinker, hang in there with me and you might learn something. So when you actually show up to situations and you turn up without a mask, without a costume, without a bunch of anxiety blocking you from being who you really want to be, something interesting happens. And what happens is there's no more act to pull off. There's no more perfect thing to say or perfect response or perfect timing or the exact thing that I said with the smoothest tone to this chick and now my whole life's a fairy tale. None of that sort of shit. What happens when you turn up with a sense of congruence and you have the ability to project that authentic, honest, real, raw, masculine truth about who you are? The interesting thing that happens is all of that social anxiety and inner dialogue and complex narrative that you've been fluffing around with in your head disappears because you're not trying to pull something off, right? There's nothing to pull off. You are turning up as you are, who you are in the moment, and the world responds to that. People respond to that because there's a sense of authenticity about it. Now you'll notice, right, and check this out, next time you're in a social situation and you are talking to someone, and for guys, right, it's really good to pick this up when you're talking to women because they are polarity mirrors that mirror back to you a lot of your inconsistencies and anxieties and that sort of stuff. It's very easy for dudes to get triggered in these situations, which is why I think it's a good thing to pay attention to because they'll teach you some of this stuff in real time. When you turn up and you're most of the time unconsciously performing, right? You're performing to these people, to these women, to these, it doesn't have to be chicks, to anybody. You're performing in these social situations. Now, what I mean by performing is you are performing what you think is supposed to be the right thing to do or to say. And people can't help this because society is constructed in this way and it's just the way it is. Now, things I've learned is when you drop the performance, there's no validation seeking, there's no outside, trying to get something from the outside, there's no external trying to figure everything out to say the right thing, there's none of that. What happens is your internal state is going to start to become regulated and you're going to start to calm down, and then you're going to understand, I don't need to perform. Why am I even performing? And I guarantee you, once you start jerrying on some of this stuff, you'll start realizing, shit, man, I've been performing a lot and I didn't even know it. I've been performing when I'm walking into the gym and talking to the person at the counter. I've been performing with my friends, with my family. There's so much performance that people go through, and until they become conscious of it, they'll just continue to perform. And it's one of those things where once you catch this, what tends to happen is you're going to start to realize how much you're doing it, and then you can correct it and you can move forward. So performance comes out in so many ways, man. And especially if you're dealing with social situations, there's this air in people's heads that they have to come across a certain way, or that they have to present themselves in a likable image or with a likable image. I don't get it, man. It's just the way the world is. So catch yourself. This is the little challenge, right? Is when you're in the next social situation, either you or the person you're talking to watch the performance. I guarantee you'll start picking some of this up, right? It comes out in very, like for some people it's enormous. Excuse me. Some people it's subtle. But you'll note this, right? And I picked up on this a while back when some of the some people I know, I'm not going to name them, but I'd catch them on their voicemail. Hello, I'm this real friendly person. Please leave a message. And then you talk to them in person, and they're like, you know what? Fuck this world. Everyone's out to get me. It's like there's two totally different things going on there, right? And it's not the same person in both situations. And yeah, I get it. You got to put your best foot forward when you're, leaving your voicemail and that sort of stuff. But you get my drift. There's different characters that people will perform at different situations, which is just natural and that's psychology. But I'm talking specifically about in this video, the false performance to be accepted by others. When you put on a mask and you put on a costume and you want to be accepted by others, you will not be accepted by others because they'll unconsciously pick up the performance and they'll mirror that back to you. Now, this is where it gets interesting, is because they mirror that back to you, a lot of people get up in their head and anxious and angry and frustrated because they're not receiving what they were putting out to get, right? Which is probably the biggest point of this. Is it's not what it is, right? They're performing because they're manipulating low key. And they don't even know this. This is the craziest thing about it, is they don't even understand they're doing this. And a lot of the time it's not malicious. They're just doing it because that's what they got taught. It's probably what their parents do. Their siblings probably do it. Their friendship circle probably does it. But once they understand they're doing it, they can let it go. They can drop it and they can move on, and they can start to use that energy and move it inward internally instead of using this external just machine of trying to figure out the external world. That's just burning up so much mental and emotional energy. Once you drop the nonsense, what ends up happening is that energy gets freed up and it's got to go somewhere. So what it does is it goes internal, and you can start using it to monitor certain things in your mental state. Instead of monitoring, how am I coming across? How's this person receiving me? Oh my God, did I say the right thing? Am I standing right? Am I leaning on this perfect angle? All this shit that is going through your head, I guarantee it is, to some extent, just observe it. And one tip that I learned for this sort of stuff is don't judge it, just observe it. And then understand that these are parts of your character that are probably waiting to be integrated and processed, and then you can, let it go. People who want to run from this stuff, they're the ones who really perform because they trick themselves into thinking that it's real. They've manipulated themselves to thinking the performance is real, so they believe it, they continue it, they double down on it, and then that becomes their identity. But it's all born out of, low-key manipulation and performance. I know I'm saying this a lot, but it's true, and you got to understand this, otherwise you'll continue to do it. So anyway, it's nothing that I really need to talk about a lot. I think it's just an important thing to take note on and be aware of. Next time you're out in a social situation, watch the performance in yourself and in others, and you'll start to see it everywhere. People always justifying why they're doing something, always explaining themselves, always jumping out of their skin, trying to put on some act to be accepted. You do not need to put on an act to be accepted.